Hello everyone and welcome to my Sister Wives Gossip. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. RHONY alum Luann de Lesseps reveals why the Legacy series failed. Bravo fans were split in 2022 when the network announced that there would be a new cast for The Real Housewives of New York City, and that the original ladies would get a spin-off called Legacy. Sadly, the latter never happened, and now Luann de Lesseps is explaining why. De Lesseps was recently on an episode of Gibson John's podcast, Gabbing with Gib. The two discussed a variety of topics, ranging from her touring to her time on The Real Housewives of New York City. Luckily, he asked her about the failed Legacy series that many fans still want. Johns began by saying the network should have announced the Legacy show first and had the cast in place before announcing the reboot. He stated that this would have gained favor from the fans. De Lesseps said, "Well, it was a big thing too to swap up the cast completely." She went on, "I think they should have swapped up the cast and done that." De Lesseps explains why the Legacy version of The Real Housewives of New York City never happened. De Lesseps continued, "But they decided to do both, and one after the other sort of fell off the wagon in terms of, Jill Zarin didn't want to do it. I mean, she did, but there were contractual things." She went on, "So there's a lot of politics that go on with it, and then all of a sudden we're replaced. They tried something out, it didn't work, and I think they're going to try it again." De Lesseps continued, "And hopefully they'll bring 1 or 2 or 3 of the OGs around for a little visit." De Lesseps went on to say one of the problems with the reboot is that they threw this new cast together who didn't really know each other. Regarding the future of her cast, she said, "At least send us on another season of Ultimate Girls Trip. Let's go below deck with Captain Sandy." She also stated that she wasn't happy with the contract the network presented her with for the Legacy show. Zarin has spoken about the Legacy contract. As De Lesseps stated, Zarin didn't sign on to do Legacy over the contract they presented her with. Specifically, her issue was over what they were willing to pay her to appear. She spoke to The Cut in 2024 about the matter. Zarin stated that she was offered a pittance in comparison to what the other ladies would have been paid. She said, "Bravo put out a story that I was asking for $1 million an episode. They wanted to make me look bad, which wasn't nice." She also claimed that she suggested that they do the show as an Ultimate Girls Trip season. They did this, but she wasn't included. Zarin told the outlet, "They wanted to punish me, so they didn't invite me." But really, the punishment was for the fans. When Bravo first announced The Real Housewives of New York City, Legacy, fans thought it would be a champagne toast to the golden era of the Big Apple franchise. Luann de Lesseps, Sonia Morgan, Dorinda Medley, and a handful of other beloved OGs were set to reunite for what seemed like a glitzy nostalgia trip. Yet, as quickly as the buzz began, the project fizzled out. For months, speculation swirled. Was it money, egos, or simply bad timing? Now, Countess Luann herself is finally pulling back the curtain and revealing why the much-anticipated Legacy series never made it to our screens. A glamorous promise that fell flat. When Bravo split RHONY into 2 paths, one featuring a fresh, diverse new cast, RHONY 2.0, and another focusing on fan-favorite veterans, Legacy, the idea looked perfect on paper. Viewers who missed the old guard would get their fix, while new audiences could enjoy a modernized cast. Luann recalls the initial excitement. "We were thrilled. I thought, finally, the fans will get what they've been asking for. People stop me on the street constantly, asking for Jill, Dorinda, Sonia, and me back together. It felt like a gift." But as filming details emerged, so did problems. Negotiations reportedly turned tense, with cast members allegedly disagreeing on salaries, contracts, and creative control. Luann admits that money played a role, but it wasn't the only issue. Contract standoff. Behind the scenes, Bravo envisioned Legacy as more of a limited-run project, not a full-fledged reboot. Luann explained, "What fans don't realize is that this wasn't going to be a traditional Housewives season with 20 episodes and reunions. It was supposed to be smaller, like a special event. Some of us felt that the compensation didn't match the effort. Others just weren't comfortable with what was being offered. Reports suggested that certain cast members felt undervalued after years of building the franchise. According to Luann, the contracts created a wedge. At the end of the day, some of the women held out and Bravo wasn't willing to budge. That's when things started to unravel. Too many queens, not enough thrones. Ego is something every Housewives fan knows runs deep. With big personalities like Dorinda, Ramona Singer, and Jill Zarin potentially in the mix, the production was bound to face conflicts. Luann chuckles about it now but admits it played a part. We're all alphas. Put us in one room and someone's going to want to be Queen Bee. Bravo didn't want to deal with constant clashes before cameras even rolled. The reality, she says, is that Bravo has shifted its strategy. The network wants fresh storylines, not just reheated drama. They didn't want to risk the series being all about rehashing old fights. That scared them. A changing reality landscape. Another factor, according to Luann, was timing. By the time negotiations dragged on, the Bravo schedule was already full of other spin-offs and projects. Peacock was rolling out Ultimate Girls Trip, a series that essentially gave fans the mashup they wanted but in exotic locations. Legacy got lost in the shuffle, Luann admits. Fans were already seeing us on Ultimate Girls Trip, and maybe Bravo felt that was enough. Why launch another show when we were giving them similar energy elsewhere? Indeed, Luann and Sonia ended up starring in Luann and Sonia, Welcome to Crappy Lake, which turned into its own cult hit. Quirky series showed the duo helping a small Midwest town and proved that spin-offs could work when they had a fresh hook. The weight of nostalgia. Still, the Countess feels fans were robbed of something special. She insists that Legacy could have worked if Bravo had leaned harder into nostalgia. People didn't want a watered-down event. They wanted the Hamptons parties, the Manhattan drama, the Upper East Side glamour. They wanted to see us back in our natural environment. Without that, it was never going to feel authentic. She adds that the weight of fan expectations might have been too much. How do you live up to years of iconic television? Every moment would have been compared to the past. Maybe Bravo didn't want to set us, or the fans, up for disappointment. Friendships tested. While the failure of Legacy disappointed fans, it also tested the friendships of the cast. Luann confesses that the breakdown in negotiations left bruised egos among her former co-stars. Some of us blamed each other. There were whispers about who held out for more money, who refused to compromise. Got messy and it hurt friendships. At the end of the day, though, we've been through worse. Despite the fallout, Luann insists she remains on good terms with most of her fellow housewives. Sonia and I are closer than ever. Dorinda and I talk all the time. Even Ramona, I love her even if she drives me crazy. We're a family, dysfunctional as it may be. Moving on, Countess style. So where does that leave the future of Legacy? According to Luann, never say never. Bravo changes its mind all the time. If they called me tomorrow and said, "We're doing it," I'd be there with bells on. But right now, I think the ship has sailed. Instead, she's focusing on her cabaret career, which continues to thrive. I get to tour the country, sing, make people laugh. Cabaret shows keep me connected to the fans in a way that's even more personal than television. That's my real legacy. Fans react. For fans, Luann's candidness confirms long-held suspicions about why the show failed before it began. On social media, some express disappointment, while others admit they're satisfied with Girls Trip and Crappy Lake filling the void. One fan tweeted, "I love Lou, but Bravo is right. You can't recapture the magic. Sometimes you have to move on." Another countered, "No legacy? That's the biggest Bravo mistake in years. They owed the OGs and us more." Final thoughts. The demise of RHONY. Legacy may forever be one of Bravo's greatest what-ifs. But Luann de Lesseps has chosen to view it not as a failure, but as a lesson in how reality TV and its stars must evolve. Life is about change, she reflects. I'll always be proud of what we created on RHONY. Legacy or not, that history can't be erased. The Countess will always have her crown. And for fans still longing for a return to the glittering cocktail parties, designer showdowns, and unforgettable one-liners, Luann has one final word of advice. Come see the cabaret. That's where the real drama and the fun still lives.